What's up, guys, and welcome back to another Wynand Crypto video. We've got some massive drama brewing in Washington, D.C. right now that could change everything for our community. Senator Kanifia Lummis has just cancelled a meeting with Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse and flat out refuses to reschedule. But here's the kicker. It might all be because of family drama and Bitcoin maximalism. This is getting ugly, and you need to know what's happening right now. So alright, crypto family, buckle up because today's episode is absolutely packed with information you cannot afford to miss. We're diving deep into this political mess. Plus, I've got some incredible updates about what's actually happening with the XRP ledger that will blow your mind. Governments, banks, and fintech companies are testing XRPL like never before. Some are winning big, others are failing hard. So let's start with this Brad Garlinghouse situation because it's honestly mind-blowing. So Brad tweets out, I'm going to show you this tweet right here. He says he's heading to DC to champion sensible crypto legislation around stablecoins and market structure. Sounds reasonable, right? So the guy's trying to do his job and push for good crypto policy. But then, boom, Senator Kanifia Lummis, who by the way is the chair of the Digital Assets Subcommittee, cancels their meeting and won't even reschedule. Now let me break this down for you because this is absolutely wild. Senator Lummis, and here's her picture. If you don't know who we're talking about, she's always been a hardcore Bitcoin maximalist. A lot of people in our community have never been happy with her approach, and honestly, I can see why. When you're the chair of a committee, that means you're in control. The buck stops with you. You're supposed to be setting the example for everyone else on your team. But what is she doing instead? She's basically telling everyone on her committee, hey, if these people aren't supporting me financially, or if they have conflicts with what my personal family is investing in, then I'm not taking those meetings. That's exactly what this looks like to me, and I want to know what you think in the comments below. So Brad's response is absolutely professional and measured. He says the chair of the Digital Assets Subcommittee canceled the meeting with him and won't reschedule. As a leader in Congress and a senator from one of the most crypto-friendly states, that's Wyoming by the way, so he hopes she'll reconsider and be a leader for all and crypto, not just Bitcoin. Then he does something brilliant. He invites her to join him on X Spaces anytime or have a live conversation on stage at any of the money events where they cross paths. He wants to talk about how to make the US the crypto capital of the world, which is literally the goal of the Trump administration. And he says he will continue doing everything possible to support that goal. You can see people in the replies are not happy. People are sick of Bitcoin maxis, and honestly, so am I. But here's where it gets really juicy. It's all because of her son-in-law. Check this out. Someone tells Brad to look into Will Cole, who is Senator Luhman's son-in-law. Apparently, this guy has been reposting Piero Chard's attacks on Brad Garlinghouse, and these attacks, they're absolutely childish. This Piero Chard character is going after Brad on Twitter saying stuff like, you ruined your reputation and lost all credibility by pushing for CBDCs against Bitcoin. Nobody takes you seriously anymore. This is pathetic. This is so childish behavior. These people never grow up. This guy might be wearing a suit and tie, but he's acting like a 5-year-old on the playground saying, it's not fair. You did CBDCs. You should have been for Bitcoin the whole time. I hate it. It's disgusting. But this Will Cole guy, the son-in-law, he's openly posting all of these attacks against Brad, openly going against the XRP community. You know what? I will leave it to you how you want to handle this. You've got a voice. You can speak up and tell these people this isn't right and not fair, or you can sit back and let it all play out. Either way, I'm going to keep covering it on this channel and keep you updated. And you guys, I have a special trick for you, which nobody seems to be using, and I cannot wrap my head around why. Because if you sign up through my link down in the description onto the BTCC exchange, you get a 10% deposit bonus, and now stay with me here. Now here comes the important part. If you have any trading capital on any other exchange and you move it to your newly created BTCC account, you get, on top of your capital, you moved another 10% extra trading capital. As an example, so if you move or deposit 100K to your account, you get 10K for free. I'm not kidding. I really don't understand why nobody's doing this. To me, it really seems like people sometimes are too lazy or just don't like free money. I mean, like, I cannot make that account for you. You will need to do that yourself, alright? So let's jump back into the video. Now let's talk about some positives and what's actually happening on the XRP ledger outside of this Monday drama. And man, it's kind of crazy we're dealing with this stuff. The XRP ledger is being tested like never before. Banks, governments, and fintech companies are running live trials. Some are winning big, others are failing hard. This is your complete breakdown of every XRP, XRPL, and Ripple test happening around the world right now. It's pretty spicy stuff. So let's start with CBDCs, and this might be one of the reasons Senator Lummis is choosing not to meet with Brad Garlinghouse. Ripple did remove CBDCs from their website probably for this exact reason. It's crazy how pretty this world can be, but like I said, it doesn't matter if you're 50, 60, whatever, you can still act like a child, and I think we're seeing that play out right now. So you've got CBDC pilots happening in Hong Kong, Palau, Georgia, Bhutan, Montenegro, and Colombia. Here's the interesting part though. XRP isn't being used in any of these. Most of these are stablecoins or CBDCs created on private ledgers, and some are on public ledgers. Palau was on a public ledger, and since Palau is a US dollar based country, I'm wondering if a lot of people believe these tests with smaller nations were proof of concepts to show bigger governments like the UK, Australia, Japan, the US, Canada, and Mexico that this technology really works. It can bring financial inclusion to countries, and Ripple has the technology to make that happen. I don't think I've seen any other crypto blockchain infrastructure company that has this many pilots, tests, and live implementations happening at the same time. You've got XRP real-time cross-border payments through Tranglo, $48 million across 70 countries in 100 days. Sensby has 25 million in FX savings with 50 country reach. There are modular sub 10-second payment systems in Europe. Mercury FX is cutting costs by 40 to 70%, and it's faster than Bitcoin. ODL using XRP is fully deployed across Asia, Africa, Europe, and so many other countries. Supply chain and custody use cases are emerging fast. Ripple is exploring pilots in Colombia, working with farmers to get food from farm to table even faster, more efficiently, and fresher. It's really interesting to see what other use cases Ripple will pursue over the next few years. Banks are quietly building XRP tech. UBS joined RippleNet back in 2018. Santander Pay1 runs on RippleNet. Bank of America is exploring the XRPL for transaction speeds. These aren't retail plays, these are core financial rails. Then you have upgrades. You can check out XRPL's 2025 roadmap. The XRPL EVM sidechain is extremely popular, bringing smart contract functionality to the XRP ledger. If you look at the past 4 or 5 years, one reason we didn't have much growth in DeFi on the XRP ledger was the SEC case hanging over our necks, but also the ability for people to come in and build freely on the XRPL, building wallets, apps, DeFi, and all of these other things that require more and more XRP to be used. The more builders we can get on the XRP ledger, the more projects, the more XRP that will be needed for all of that. And eventually, the higher the value of the XRP token, if we can get 500 or 1,000 new builders on the XRP ledger over the next few years, that could really supercharge this asset class and be really unique for everybody. It also talks about the Accelerator bridge for cross-chain asset movement across 50 plus chains. Interoperability is key, being able to move value from one public chain to another. We understand how important this is for bigger institutions to use both public chains and permission chains. There's also the Hooks Amendment for native smart logic with contracts, AMM for optimized decentralized trading, smart contracts, DeFi interoperability, all in flight right now. Ripple's partner playbook is global and aggressive. On effect, now covers 35 African countries with Ripple's tech. We've talked about Ripple's Liquidity Hub, which is live in 35 countries, including Brazil and South Africa. It supports Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins with real-time tracking and multi-currency support. The goal is seamless crypto fiat liquidity for institutions. Not all trials make it though. Bhutan was announced in 2021 with no visible progress since. The Digital Pound Foundation is still years away according to the Bank of England. Regulators are watching and testing the UK FCA sandbox, the HKMA Hong Kong Monetary Authority sandbox. Ripple is pushing for US sandboxes and policy clarity. XRP is classified as virtual currency by the DOJ and the FinCEN, but full legal clarity is still some time away, especially when we can get leaders like the head of the Digital Asset Subcommittee to meet with industry leaders. So here's a little gem for you that was put out. StraitsX launches its Singapore dollar pegged stablecoin XSGD on the XRP ledger. StraitsX has launched its Singapore dollar pegged stablecoin on the XRP ledger to meet rising demand for regulated multi-chain stablecoins. XSGD is fully backed by reserves held by the DBS Bank and Standard Chartered. Look at this. The reserves are held at DBS and Standard Chartered, which is pretty interesting. It's available on multiple blockchain platforms, so this is cross-chain, probably Ethereum, as well as the XRP ledger. The expansion of XSGD to the XRP ledger is part of a strategic partnership aimed at enhancing cross-border payment solutions. Digital asset developers, fintech firms, financial institutions can use it to conduct cross-border transactions, settle transactions on-chain, and create programmable financial flows. As of writing, XSGD has a total supply of 14.12 million with on-chain transaction count that could exceed 8 billion. This is actually pretty exciting. The more different stablecoins that can be created, if the value lives on the XRP ledger, that's even more value to push up the price. So here is Jake Claver talking about how the XRP ledger will gain value from asset tokenization. We've talked about this so much on the channel, but it's really cool when I can play a clip from somebody else that sounds a lot like what I would say.
XRP benefit from asset tokenization on the XRPL. So most of the real world tokenization for the XRPL isn't going to happen on the mainnet. The EVM sidechain, according to Ripple, is going to go live at the end of this month. It's in beta right now. Once there's large amounts of assets tokenized, the trading volume settling through XRP is actually what will drive the price higher. Just tokenizing assets doesn't do anything. It's just value sitting there unless people are actually trading it back and forth. And that's why they're going after Swift. Swift does 5 trillion a day in volume. The FX market does 6 point something trillion a day in volume. The back end of the stock market is 5 to 600 billion a day in volume. So the volume of transactions is actually what's going to drive XRP's price higher for settling those transactions and sustain the price at those levels. The tokenization of the assets themselves is not actually going to do much.
Most real-world tokenization for XRPL isn't going to happen on the mainnet. The EVM sidechain, according to Ripple, is going live at the end of this month and is in beta right now. Once there are large amounts of assets tokenized, the trading volume settling through XRP is actually what will drive the price higher. Just tokenizing assets doesn't do anything. It's just value sitting there unless people are actually trading it back and forth. That's why they're going after Swift. Swift does 5 trillion a day in volume. The FX market does 6 trillion a day in volume. The back end of the stock market is 500 to 600 billion a day in volume. The volume of transactions is actually what's going to drive XRP's price higher for settling those transactions and sustain the price at those levels. The tokenization of the assets themselves isn't actually going to do much by itself. Alright, crypto family, I hope you have a fantastic day. Sorry for the bummer news about Senator Lummis, but there was also some really cool information in this video about what's actually happening with the XRP ledger. I've been in crypto for 5 years now. I've learned what to do and what not to do. Before you go, smash the like button if this video helped you understand what's happening with XRP and this political drama. Hit subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates, and drop your thoughts about Senator Lummis in the comments below. Do you think she's being fair to the crypto community, or is this just Bitcoin maximalist nonsense? Let me know what you think. Wynand Crypto out.